Carol has assigned me Romeo. I was so glad because I love this poem. It's a wonderful, objective view of actors hanging out together. I will briefly tell you another event in Kansas City. I wanted to eat good Kansas City barbecue. I'd never been there before, and everybody said, you have to have it. So I said, arrange for this for me, won't you please? Not only did they arrange for a place for me to have barbecue, but they invited a couple of local actors to come and join me. A sort of ready-made sort of cast party. One of them was a wonderful guy whom Ted Sweats is his name. He and I had been in a production of Hamlet, terrible production, in Central Park in 1975. The bad productions are always the fun ones to talk about. I hadn't seen him since. The years disappeared, and we spent the whole evening roaring with laughter telling theater stories. I just wanted to tell you that before reciting Romeo. Romeo is a wanker, you say. And the other actors lift their glasses, recalling grunting battles with Capulets fought in battery-lit codpieces. Somebody, cast as Richard Crookback, recounts popping his air-filled hump. It shriveled like a balloon on his back. Nobody ever wants to sing Try to Remember the Kind of September again. Slick cads, kings, Hollywood whores, psychos, all shot by the messenger. The actors brandish their glasses. What brushes against the glass mouths is wind slamming shut the skylight. The lit trapdoor above that leads to the heavens, resembling a parenthesis between identities, where players wait to be cast. Come night, come Romeo, come loving black-browed night. This is the space between stellae. Take him and cut him out in little stars, so that all the world will be in love with sweet audition. The glasses float again, catching the great light. The friars lifted filter of fire, Juliet's eyes. Their voices rise in hectoring chorus in the dreamy interlude before the coming acts. Oh, Romeo, wanker Romeo.
That's the best I've ever heard that. Never do that. This is called The Illusion, well, this should be self-explanatory. There are references to, what I was going to talk about a little bit was that there's some references to parts, but you'll know that Henry Carr was the protagonist of Travesties by Stoppard, and Salieri was in Amadeus and Hotspur and so on. After his death, I kept an illusion before me that I would find the key to him, the answer, in the words of a play that he'd put to heart years earlier. I'd find the secret place in him, retracing lines he'd learned, tracking his prints in snow. I'd discover, scrawled in the margin of a script, a stage note that would clarify consciousness in a single gesture, not only the playwright's imagery, but his, the actors, and his, the selves. Past thoughts proscenium. The slight tilt of Alceste's head or his too quick, ironic bow. The long pause as Henry Carr adjusts his straw boater. Salieri slumps at the keyboard. Hotspur sinks into self-reflection, where the actor disappears into physical inspiration. Thought rises, a silent aria. Thought glitters in the infinite prism of representation. For love, unrequited, and tactical hate, the shouted curse of a wretched son, a vengeful duke, in that silent, prescient dialogue unspoken, he'd show up in the ear, in a tone blue and sweetened as wood smoke, show up in these directions to the flesh, cues like green shouts, the blood swimming with indicatives. Look, the same smile he flashed at me from the shaving mirror is here, right here, but realized. I remember this path opening in a deep forest outside Athens, the moon shuddering into place, and no players as yet at hand.
Carol, would you mind just
introducing
Ovation briefly?
Yes, thank you. This is I don't know quite how to tell this, but forge ahead here. After David died, he was cremated, and some of his ashes are buried at Forest Lawn, the ever refreshing Forest Lawn. But some of them I decided to scatter in places that meant something to him. So I decided that a great place to scatter ashes would be, a very important place to scatter ashes would be on a Broadway stage, where he had many times played parts in many theaters there. And I was trying to remember with John what theater it was. I can't remember, but by sheer luck, an old friend of David's, John Pepper, and I managed to talk our way into this theater, and they were in rehearsal. It was noontime backstage, and the director, who had known David, was a friend of David's and yours undoubtedly, said, let's just take a break. You guys do whatever it is you want to do. And so John and I were alone in the theater, and we scattered some of David's ashes on the stage and in the front row and about in the theater, so that he would be there into perpetuity. So I have to tell you, it's a very strange thing to do, but it seemed exactly right for David's memory. So this poem that John is about to read is about that.
It's called Ovation. I try to make myself afraid, the way you must have been afraid stepping out onto this stage, but with a fear so pure, so perfectly informed that you strode out shouting. Here, where the neon yellow arrows painted on the floor shoot forward underfoot in blackness, beneath the hanging sequence of tinted skies, out toward that mindless, immortalizing light, now dark. Now I think I feel the heat you must have felt rising from the front rows, a gaping fire door, a furnace, your single body standing here with no shadow, swinging on itself. Had you been a fool, you might have thought that they loved you. They never love you, you said. They are hungry for the God in his gold eclipse, the pure you on fire. John and I move quickly, each with a handful of ash, scattering. The sound of no sound falling into the cracks in the boards, the footlights, the first row, a small personal snow, a prince of dust, a villain of dust. Each part you played, drifting up again, recomposing. I open my hand, I let you go. Back into the lines you learned, back into the body and the body's beauty, back into the standing ovation, bow after bow after bow.